Do you feel like no one truly understands you? That you're always alone? No close friends, no deep relationship? You're not broken. You're separated for a purpose. This video reveals the spiritual reason why the chosen ones live this way. Isolated, but with a greater calling. Have you ever felt like the world hit a pause button around you? People vanished. Connections dissolved. Invitations stopped coming. And you, once surrounded by movement, now walk through an almost invisible space where silence seems to have taken the place of familiar voices. It's not easy to explain this. For many, it feels like abandonment. For others, a kind of cosmic punishment. But for those who truly feel that something bigger is happening, this emptiness is the beginning of a sacred journey. Energetic isolation is not a punishment. It's a rite, a silent vibrational ritual where the soul is temporarily removed from the current of the old world to be refined. Think of it as a vibrational quarantine. Just as sick bodies are isolated to protect others, and also to heal themselves, the awakening soul is energetically withdrawn to recompose, reorganize, and resonate at a new frequency. It happens without warning, without a manual, without external understanding. But the soul knows. It always knows. When you start vibrating differently, your field begins to transform. The invisible threads that connected you to certain places, people, and old patterns begin to unravel. And it's in this process of dissolution that many souls become confused. Why am I alone? What happened to those friendships? Is there something wrong with me? But there isn't. What's happening is that your spirit has ceased to belong to the old and has not yet arrived at the new. This in-between place, this invisible cocoon, is where spiritual birth begins. Just as the caterpillar needs the cocoon to become a butterfly, the awakened one needs the bubble of silence to become a channel. Transition never happens on stage, but behind the scenes. And the universe, in its subtle wisdom, removes you from the scene to work on the invisible. The secret here is not to resist. When you fight against isolation, you slow down the process. But when you embrace it, even without understanding, something begins to bloom in the silence. A new you is being molded. More sensitive, more aligned, more truthful. This rite of passage has no exact end date, but it has purpose. It's creating space for the new. It's erasing noise so that the voice of your higher self can finally be heard without interference. It's not the end of the line. It's the beginning of rebirth. Now take a deep breath, and before we continue, write in the comments, "I am in spiritual transition." If this message is resonating within you, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and share it with another awakened soul who might be experiencing this same silence. Have you noticed how after an inner awakening, certain connections simply collapse? People with whom you shared confidences vanish without explanation. Bonds that seemed unbreakable dissolve in silence. It's as if the universe pressed a restart button, and suddenly you find yourself surrounded by absences. At first glance, it might seem like betrayal, abandonment, or even injustice. But in reality, what's happening is a profound and necessary karmic cleansing. When your soul changes frequency, it also changes relational tuning. What vibrated with you yesterday may no longer be compatible today. This doesn't mean those connections were false, just that they completed their cycle. The universe is profoundly intelligent, and it operates by subtle laws that our physical eyes cannot see. One of these laws states, everything that does not support your new vibration will be removed with grace or with pain. Old relationships often carry silent karmic contracts, invisible pacts of pain, repetition, codependency, or stagnation. Upon awakening, your soul can no longer sustain these exchanges. And then, the collapse happens. Friendships cool, families distance themselves, love say goodbye. Not because something is wrong, but because energetically there's no common ground anymore. This phase is confusing because the ego doesn't understand what the spirit is clearing. The ego screams, "Why are they leaving me?" But the spirit whispers, "They need to go, so you can move forward." And yes, it hurts. But it's a pain with a function. Like the pain of a tooth that needed to be extracted to cure the invisible infection. Think of energy threads. Each relationship is like a thread connecting your soul to another. When there's harmony, these threads glow. But when there's dissonance, these threads short-circuit. The universe then cuts the worn-out threads to prevent you from getting burned. It's not rejection. It's spiritual protection. The solitude that follows is not punishment. It's a pause, a vibrational interval where the field is cleansed, the heart is healed, and the spirit restarts. Gradually, you'll realize that the connections that remain, or those that arrive later, are lighter, deeper, truer. This cleansing phase is not forever, but it is fundamental. And if you are experiencing this now, know, your soul is being updated. The collapse is not an end. It's an alignment. Write in the comments if you are going through this. Share this message with someone who also felt connections crumble after awakening. You are not alone. You are being reconfigured. After everything begins to collapse, people, bonds, environments, something new emerges, almost imperceptible, but deeply real, a bubble around you. You feel surrounded by a kind of invisible field, as if there's a veil between you and the world. Words don't affect you as before. Noisy environments cause discomfort, and certain people simply can no longer get close. This is not spiritual arrogance. This is energetic self-protection. What you are experiencing is the emergence of your auric bubble of vibrational preservation. When the soul awakens and goes through collapses, the universe enters containment mode. It creates a vibrational shield around you. This shield has a simple and sacred function: to prevent dissonant frequencies from contaminating the new code being installed within you. Imagine an ancient, sacred temple where you only enter barefoot in silence after an inner preparation. Now understand, you are that temple, and your energetic bubble is the filter that prevents unprepared energies from invading this space under construction. Therefore, don't be surprised if some invitations disappear, if conversations become shallow, or if even people's gaze changes around you. It's the field signaling. Inside here, only what vibrates with truth enters. This bubble is not punitive isolation, it's strategic isolation. The universe is refining your frequency. You are in a phase of spiritual coding, and for that, you need silence, purity, and astral cleansing. Often this bubble is felt as a kind of natural limit. You try to connect, but you can't. You even want to go out, but something holds you back. Don't blame yourself for this. This protection is not your weakness, it's your divine shield. Over time, the bubble doesn't disappear. It adjusts. It learns to open and close according to the vibrational need of the moment. But at this initial stage, it is dense, firm, and selective. And it needs to be, because you are vulnerable to old influences. A wrong touch, a badly spoken word, a toxic presence, and everything that was healed can open up again. That's why the bubble surrounds you with firm love. Honor this bubble. It's a sign that you are being preserved, separated, protected. You are not distant because you failed. You are distant because your soul is in a sacred process. If you felt this bubble around you, comment, "I am being preserved." Share this video with someone who is also vibrating in this invisible journey. The more consciousness, the lighter this process. Perhaps what is most frightening on the awakened path is not the absence of people but the absence of sound. Silence settles in, a silence that goes beyond the auditory. It's a kind of emptiness that takes over space, messages, answers. Notifications cease, calls don't come, and even your own inner voice seems to become more contained. But what seems like absence in reality is preparation for deep listening. The universe is wise. It silences the external to amplify the internal. It closes the curtains of worldly noise so that you can hear what was once muffled, the voice of your higher self, your guides, your intuition, your ancestral wisdom. But for that, you need to go through the discomfort of silence. The mind doesn't like silence. It agitates, creates stories, questions, but the spirit flourishes in it. This is the time when the crowd no longer distracts you, and the desert begins to reveal itself to you. Because it is in the desert that the purest sound is heard, that of the soul talking to the cosmos. Silence is not a punishment, it's an invitation, a sacred space where the whisper of the divine becomes audible, but only for those who remain, listen, and welcome it. Esoteric practices such as intuitive writing, deep meditation, lucid dreams, and energetic downloads gain strength in this silence. It is in this space that you begin to receive codes, images, premonitions. You begin to understand that your thoughts are not just yours, that your sensitivity is in fact an antenna, and that silence is the cleanest channel through which truth arrives. You were not abandoned. You were called to hear what only silence can transmit. This phase is not to be avoided. It is to be respected, because it is in it that you reconnect with your soul, with purpose, with the invisible that has always been trying to guide you. Haste is the enemy of this process. Too much external information intoxicates the frequency. Too much soulless talk disconnects you from the center, so the universe closes the external doors, precisely to open the most important door, the one that connects you to your essence. If you are in silence today, celebrate. You were chosen to hear what the world cannot hear. If this message resonates with your current moment, comment, "I am hearing the invisible." Like, share, and allow other awakened souls to understand that silence also speaks, and loudly. There comes a moment in spiritual awakening when even being accompanied feels lonely. You're in a crowded room, but you feel like no one truly sees you. Conversations sound empty. Meetings seem rehearsed. Social laughter no longer resonates as before. And then you ask yourself, did I change, or did the world around me become too shallow? The answer, gently, is, you changed, and the world around you is still adapting. The awakened soul no longer accepts what it once tolerated. It demands truth, depth, reciprocity. The empty exchanges that once sufficed now cause uneasiness. Friendships based on convenience, love driven by need, bonds fueled by habit. All of this begins to generate noise, because your energetic field no longer fits the old molds. But here is a spiritual secret. This relational absence is not punishment. It is realignment. The universe is clearing your surroundings to allow the new to arrive. And this new is not just anything. It's your soul tribe. Connections aligned with your essence, not with your masks. And for that, it's necessary to go through the space in between. That territory where you haven't yet found the new, but can no longer go back to the old. This is the sacred interval. A moment where the universe teaches you to differentiate neediness from vibrational misalignment. Because you are not alone due to lack of worthiness. You are on pause due to excess growth. What you miss is not just any company, but true resonance. And that, my dear awakened one, is not found on every corner. It is rare, and it needs preparation to be received. In this time, you will learn to sustain your own presence, to discover that your company is not an emptiness to be filled, but an energy to be celebrated. You will stop begging for crumbs of attention, because you will finally understand that the soul you have does not fit into shallow vessels. Trust the process. The current emptiness is organizing the ground for your future relationships. The more you honor your authenticity, the more the universe responds. And what once seemed like absence in reality was purification of the sacred space where true encounters will happen. If you are in this interval, comment, "I am in realignment." Share with those who feel that the world has become too small for what the soul desires. You are being repositioned for soul connections, and they will come. There comes a time when loneliness stops being an absence and begins to reveal itself as a path, a portal, a bridge between what you were and who you are becoming. What once seemed like punishment now begins to take on sacred contours, because the more you quiet within, the more you feel something is approaching, something that has to do with soul, with destiny, with purpose. And no, you're not imagining things. You're traversing. Spiritual solitude is the dark night that precedes the reunion with the light. And this light does not come from outside. It ignites within. It is what illuminates the path to your soul tribe, those souls with whom you share codes, ancestral memories, vibrational pacts. They exist. And yes, they are looking for you too. But before you can reunite, the universe needs to be sure that you will know how to recognize, value, and sustain this type of connection. That's why you were separated. Not rejected, but separated. Like a seed that needs dark, silent earth to germinate. Like a crystal that needs to be polished away from noise. The solitary journey is a time of purification, of regeneration, of spiritual memory. It is in it that you reclaim who you always were, before the masks, the traumas, the concessions that dimmed your light. When your tribe begins to arrive, and it will, you will notice. Conversations will flow effortlessly, gazes will carry recognition, encounters will seem orchestrated by something greater. There will no longer be that tension of needing to be understood, because these souls will not understand you logically, but vibrationally. They will feel you, as you are, and you will feel that you have come home. But to reach that point, it is necessary to honor the solitary path. The pain of silence, the absence of belonging, the journey, because it is in it that your frequency is tuned to be compatible with what is to come. It's like a musical note that needs to vibrate in exact harmony to attract its complementary melody. The universe never isolates by chance. It separates to prepare, and prepares to align. What awaits you on the other side of this bridge is more than friendship, more than partnership. It is soul recognition. If you feel you are on this journey, comment, "I am on my way to my tribe." Like and send this video to someone else on this solitary path. The journey is silent, but the reunion will be sacred. Now that you've made it this far, breathe. Quiet within. Notice, something in you is different. Perhaps it's just a faint memory of who you always were. Or perhaps it's the beginning of a certainty that can no longer be ignored. You were never alone. You were being prepared. Spiritual solitude is not a wrong turn. It is an essential part of the awakened path. Those who carry a different frequency, an above-average sensitivity, a mission that doesn't fit into the molds of the common world. The absence of people, of answers, of connections. All of this was the cosmic womb where your new version began to be gestated. You felt pain, yes, you questioned, you rebelled. You cried into your pillow as if unheard by anyone, not even by heaven. But what you didn't know is that, in that exact silence, your soul was being realigned. You were not forgotten. You were hidden. Guarded, reconfigured for something greater. Every person who left, every relationship that crumbled, every phase of extreme silence was a sacred cleansing, because the universe loves you too much to let you get lost in empty exchanges, in soulless paths, in places that no longer sustain your light. And now, something in you has been activated. You understand that this solitude has purpose, that this silence has direction. And that what awaits you, further down the road, are souls who speak your vibrational language, souls who won't demand that you explain yourself because they already recognize you by your field. So, walk, keep traversing, honor your process, and remember, the time of harvest comes after the time of planting. If this message touched something within you, write in the comments, "I am in spiritual transition." Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with another awakened soul in silence. Because sometimes all a soul in transition needs is to know it's not alone. You are being guided, and those who truly recognize you are still on their way.